Alright, ladies and gents, Big T coming at you today with a cigar review. Today we are going to be reviewing the Charter Oak Maduro. So I did pick up two of these, two different blends rather. So this is the Maduro blend. There's also a Connecticut Shade blend. We'll get into that in just a bit. So the Charter Oak brand is an affordably priced brand from Nicholas Malillo, produced at the Tabacalera AJ Fernandez Cigars in Nicaragua. So that explains why I like them so much, because AJ is one of my favorite blenders. So we got that going for us. The wrapper on this little one is a Connecticut broadleaf. The binder is a Nicaraguan Habano. And then you've got a mixed Nicaraguan filler in the middle from the Jalapa Valley as well as the area of Esteli. So right away I'm thinking this is going to be broader spectrum flavor-wise, or at least hopefully, just because you've got the Nicaraguan tobacco along with the Habano binder, and then the broadleaf on the outside. Now, speaking from a matter of looking at different types of broadleaf, I'm going to guess that this nice dark color, it looks a little bit lighter on camera just because of the lighting in here. But to me, this wrapper looks like dark chocolate. It's very dark, so I would almost expect to see some shoe shine on this one. Yeah, so that being said, on the wrapper, you got that slight barnyard, which to me, most cigars, if not all cigars, have that. I think it's just something that comes along with the fermentation process of the tobacco. But this one almost has, it's almost like the smell of like baker's chocolate, like some dark chocolate smell to it. It does have this nice little closed foot. At first when I pulled it out of the wrapper, I was like, what the hell is that? But it's a closed foot. They just kind of twisted it shut. And then a nice little single cap. Couple seams here and there, and another reason why I'd say it's probably got some shoe shine. If you can kind of see, I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up or not, but you can kind of see those little pock marks, and then right in these seams here, you can see that light tobacco showing through. I want to say that's the original color of the wrapper, and this is either dipped or painted on this color. Either way, it looks nice. It's a good contrast against the band. So it's got the standard Charter Oak band on it with the Charter Oak emblem on front, and then that nice orange and tan on the band there. Just kind of contrasts well against the dark wrapper. I kind of like that. So let's get this baby cut, fired up, and we'll see what we got going on. Rainy day here in Michigan today. Slightly warmer temperatures. It's, you know, upper 50s, somewhere in there. Cold rain though, cold rain. I think we got some warmer temperatures moving in from the south, but being up here almost close to Canada, those Arctic winds tend to hang around for a bit. So just cut the slightest bit off the tip as usual, but I can already see in here, I'm sure you can see it too, there's a nice piece of stem there. So if the draw gives us any issues, that will be my first action, to pull that out. But actually the draw is actually pretty nice. Cold draw, there's like a slight sweetness. Definitely a pepper tinge on the lips. It tastes almost more of like a red pepper. Basically just sweet tobacco on that. Let's get her fired up here. Hopefully everybody's having a good day. For those of you who don't know anything about closed foot cigars, hopefully my lighter's not out of fluid here. Oh, there we go. For those of you who don't know much about closed foot cigars, you definitely want to be careful with them. They do have a tendency to burn up and fall in your lap just a little bit, so just be wary of that. I do like when I have a closed foot cigar. It kind of helps me out, and the fact that I'm just using my short little one jet torch today for this. it helps me from burning that wrapper on the outside. Typically, if I have a bigger ring gauge cigar rather, I tend to overheat the wrapper, and that tends to burn it just a little bit, which we definitely don't want to do. But I thought, being that this is a smaller cigar, woo, pepper blast up front. Wowza. Okay. Let me recover from that one real quick, guys. All right, so there's definitely a big pepper blast up front, and it is just coating my tongue down into the back of my throat. Excuse me. Glad I brought some water with me. Definitely going to need a beverage for that one. Wow. All right. So definitely got that pepper blast up front, and it's like a red cayenne pepper. Yeah. So, deceivingly dark. I think this one's going to be a little bit of a pepper bomb. Either that or they just packed a lot of Ligero right up in the front there. That could also be because of that closed foot. You do have some extra wrapper. So maybe that that Connecticut shade wrapper, if I remember correctly, does have a little bit of a spicy note to it. So that might be part of that as well. So in this case, that foot, the closed foot, did not just burn off. It actually stayed on there fairly well, which that's kind of cool. Usually when I have a closed foot cigar, once I get that foot heated up, and it just kind of drops right off. But this one's hanging on and just kind of forming right into the ash. Looks like I got a nice clean light on this one. A little bit of a coastline, but not terrible. So the one thing that this brand does boast is that it's very well constructed. So we will see how well that shakes out. I did already smoke this one's counterpart, the Connecticut shade. Oh, I'm sorry. I got these two mixed up. So this one is the broadleaf. So the broadleaf, rather, has the spiciness to it. The Connecticut shade blend one is the one I had previously smoked, and it's a little bit creamier. Still a good cigar. Just a little more plain Jane, that's all. So definitely right up front, you got that pepper blast right in the front of this one. Along with that, I'm getting some sweet tobacco. And that's kind of it for right now. But I have a feeling it's going to take my taste buds just a minute to recoup from that blast of pepper up front. That was almost a little overwhelming. Hopefully everybody's having a good day today. Even though it's dreary and wet and cold out here, here in Michigan, I'm trying to get a little work done today. We're out in the garage trying to clean up a little bit. We're doing some packing. So moving out of the apartment, got a house all lined up. Should be closing on it soon after I get back to work, which will hopefully be next week, Monday. Ready to get back to work. Tired of all this quarantine business. So I told the wife I was going to head out here and do a little cleaning up. The idea, since we live on the second story here, is to get everything packed up, move down to the garage, so it's just a straight trip into the truck from here. A lot less up and down, you know. So, anyway, we're going to smoke on this a little bit, guys, and I'll be back. Hold tight. All right, guys, so we are well into the first third here. As you can see, I've got about an inch of ash on the front. The burn is taking a slight turn for the worse on the back side. So I'm going to touch that up just a little bit. So far, that pepper blast has died down just a little bit, but the pepper does remain throughout the cigar thus far. And then right here, just touching up the backside of that wrapper, you can see what I was talking about with the shoe shine. You can kind of see the two different colorations of the wrapper there. Oh, focus. Two different colorations of the wrapper right there, just underneath the burn line. So there's a little bit of shoe shine on this one. Draw is still excellent. No complaints about the draw thus far. I am going to try and tip this ash off real quick, just so it doesn't fall on my lap, and it came off nice and clean. So there we go. Not burning too fast, not burning too slow. A little bit of a catch up on that back side of the cigar. Main flavors thus far, you've got that spicy pepper. There's a little bit of a cedar note there on the retro, like a sweet cedar. And maybe just like a hint of something floral or like grassy in there. Can't quite put my finger on what that note is. But I have had it resting just a little bit here and there. That pepper isn't necessarily overwhelming, but the more puffs you take, it kind of gathers on the back of your tongue and in your throat a little bit. So I do recommend having a beverage with this one, unless you're a pepperhead and you like that kind of thing. I particularly am not. I know I like AJ, and AJ does have some spicier blends. But this one has the type of pepper spice in this one just kind of sits on the back of your tongue right there. And if you get too much in there, it can be a little overwhelming. But not terrible, not in a bad way. Just a little too much of a good thing, I would say. So something I forgot to mention about this wrapper. So it's got that nice dark chocolate look to it, which I do like. The texture of the wrapper, though, is almost equal to like a fine grit sandpaper. It's actually interesting. It's not oily, not an oily wrapper whatsoever. It's actually more of a like a drier, rougher type of feel to it. Kind of nice. You can see some of the seams in there, but because of the dark coloration of the wrapper, the veins are not likely to be seen very easy. So far, a decent cigar. Definitely offers a different profile on the flavor than what the other blend does. The Connecticut Shade blend is a little more mild, a little more creamier cedar type of thing. So this one does come in a variety of sizes, of course. Let's see what we got here. So we've got a Grande, which is a 6x60, and you're looking at $108 for a box of 20. The Lonsdale, which is a 6 1/4 by 46, that's going to be $99, right about $100 for a box of 20. The Petite Corona, which is fairly similar to what I've got here, just a little bit different on the sizing. So the Petite Corona is a 5 1/4 by 42, and that's going to be $91 for a box of 20. And then the Rothschild, which is what I have here today, the Rothschild, is a 4 1/2 by 50. So slightly bigger ring gauge than the Petite Corona, but you lose about, what? You lose about 3/4 of an inch in length. So, and the Rothschild, which is what I have here today, is $93, $94 for a box of 20. And then the Toro, which is the 6 by 52, of course, $103 for a box of 20. So all those are prices for a box of 20, gotten from FamousSmokes.com. Check them out. Shout out to Famous Smokes. So given the different sizes, obviously the Grandes and stuff like that are a little bit more expensive, but you're averaging right about $5 a stick on these. And that's throughout the sizes. I think the most expensive one is, in fact, the Grande, the 6 by 60, which is $5.40 a stick if you do the math. And then the cheapest one is going to be the Petite Corona at $4.54 a stick. So about $5 a stick. So a decent one that if you're looking for an everyday smoke, something, you can just pull out of the humidor and smoke whenever you feel like smoking. Excellent smoke output. The cedar note in here, like I said, is like a sweet cedar. And on the retro, it almost gives you like kind of it's hard to explain. It's whatever that little bit of a floral note that is in there. I can't quite put my finger on what it is, but it's definitely interesting. Great smoke output. Great draw so far. It's like a medium firm draw, not too light, not too harsh. Yeah. So far so good. I have a feeling that if I was going to pair this with some sort of liquor, I would probably go for something a little sweeter, and that would balance out the bite of the pepper. So maybe like a rum, or if you've got like maybe like a cherry cask bourbon or something like that. Just something with a little bit of sweetness in there to even out the pepper bite, I think would be good. Today I'm just pairing it with water. I figured it's raining. We'll hydrate. Trying to get back on a little bit of a healthier kick. This whole quarantine business has got yours truly a little chunky. So we're going to try and shave off some pounds, get back into the workout routine, start eating a little bit healthier. Being that I've just been home with the kids while mom was at work, I've been kind of slacking. So gotta get it back in gear. All right, guys, I'm going to smoke on this a little bit longer. I'm out in the garage, kind of cleaning up. Got some nice little holders for my sockets. Trying to get everything cleaned up, put together, tidied up for the move so stuff's not all over the place. And yeah, I'll be back, guys. Hold tight. All right, and we are back. So we're about halfway through this stogie. And, well, seems to have gone out on me, folks. So let's get this relit here. Perfect time, I always feel, that if for some reason you happen to let your cigar go out, it's a good time to do a purge. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Well, maybe if I can get the lighter heated up a little bit. It's starting to cool off a little bit out here. So the old trusty Firebird has gotten a little cold. We're going to warm her up a little bit. And as you can see, I did take the band off. Had a little bit of trouble with this one, getting the band off. I don't know if they threw some extra glue on it or what it was, but couldn't quite get it. Ended up pulling out ye old pocket knife and popping her off there. Let's see if we can get this lighter to go here. See if we can get this purge done. Well, not a whole lot going on the purge, so. Come on now. So it looks like it's tightened up a bit. See if we can get this thing relit. Having a little bit of trouble. I think part of my problem, at least right now, is that I forgot to check the fluid level. Before I came out. But we got it relit. Scrap the purge. Oh well. Yeah, she looks a little low. Should probably refill her. It's a nice thing about or the not so nice thing rather, about these smaller lighters. Have a smaller tank on them. But this lighter's been pretty trusty so far. So it's a Firebird, just a single jet. I think I picked it up at one of the local liquor stores or something for like $5-6. It's nice, well made. It's very sturdy. I just forgot to refill it. So, but we got it lit again. Let's make sure that doesn't go back out. Still got that big pepper blast up front, especially on the relight. Like I said, I had a little trouble getting the band off. Kind of tore it on the one end there. It is what it is. And then on the back of this band, they have the emblem for Foundation cigars as well. So that's the AJ Fernandez Foundation cigars from Nicaragua. So far, for me at least, the flavor profiles stayed the same. You got that pepper, the cedar notes, that little bit of a floral note I was talking about. I never did quite figure out what that was, but it has gone. So right now I'm just left with the pepper, a little bit of cedar in there yet. The sweetness on that cedar though has toned down. It's a little more of an earthy cedar now that we're about halfway through. That's about all I'm getting, guys. If I remember correctly, Famous Smoke said something in their description about coffee notes, dark chocolate notes, some toasted nut, cedar, stuff like that. I'm not always the greatest at picking out certain flavors. I did notice the dark chocolate hint on the smell of the wrapper. However, that's not coming through in the flavor for me. I have a feeling that my palate is very sensitive to the pepper from the Ligero in the tobacco. And that might be masking some of the flavors. So I was hoping that the water would kind of cleanse the palate a little bit. So far, it hasn't really made much of a change. Now, if you were pairing this cigar with something, say a bourbon or a whiskey or even a rum, I think that little bit of a sweetness from that alcohol might cleanse the palate maybe just a little bit better. Maybe you might get a couple different flavors out of it. Who knows? We'll have to try it again sometime. So as far as I'm concerned, the flavor profile is not bad on this one. It's just definitely not as complex as what they said it was in the description on the website. So again, more than likely, my fault, not theirs. Strength on this one's a bit high. I would say it's somewhere in the range of medium to full strength. I am feeling it a little bit. But nothing overpowering. So definitely be wary of that. You're going to want a beverage for this one. It is a drier smoke. So I would recommend having some sort of beverage on hand. That big chunk of stem that we saw in the head there thus far hasn't affected the draw any. I don't have my perfect draw tool out here with me today. Otherwise, I might consider fishing that out and seeing if that changes the profile at all. But I also don't want to loosen up the draw too much. It is starting to get a little bit tighter, so maybe we'll look around and see if I can find something to pull it out of there with. Sporting my Federated Auto Parts gear, or Federated Racing, rather. Shout out to Federated. I buy all my car parts from Federated. Decent prices, and never gotten bad parts from them, so kudos to them. Let me see if I can find something to fish this little bit of a stem out here with. Hold on, guys. I'm sure I've got something around here somewhere. Needle nose. We'll perform a little bit of surgery here. Oh, wow. Look at that monster. Well, it definitely loosened up the draw quite a bit. And that is, yeah, that's a big old chunk of stem right there, folks. So you can see, still got a little bit of the leaf attached to it, obviously. But that was mostly one giant stem, and you can even see on the end there, that was, in the end, that was burning. So that ran all the way through. That could possibly be where all that pepper is coming from. But it definitely lightened up the draw quite a bit. We'll see if we can get some different flavor out of it now. Pepper is still there. It's not as predominant, but it's definitely still there on the retro. Guess we'll see how it goes. All right, let me smoke on this a little bit, guys, see what I can think. Okay, guys, so after pulling out that little bit of a stem, not much of a change in the flavor. I do detect maybe a shift in flavor, so that kind of a cedar note, the earthy cedar that I was getting, is kind of transitioned into what I might classify as like a toasted nut, kind of like a toasted almond kind of a flavor. The draw is definitely a lot lighter than it was with that stem in. So had I pulled it out sooner, might have changed the profile of the cigar just a little bit, but I don't think by much. Other than that, nothing really else to report, other than the fact that after taking that out, now that we're down to like the last 2 inches of the cigar here, after taking that out, it is a little bit hotter on the draw. So I'll probably be setting this one down here soon. I don't think it's going to be a nubber by any means. Yeah, we're definitely going to set that down. So I'll go ahead and give you the numbers. For the price, I'm going to go with the 3 average. I feel that $5 for this type of cigar is pretty average. Construction, I'm not going to say it was exceptional. It definitely wasn't above and beyond. I did have to do a couple of touch-ups. The relight was my problem, so I'm not going to dock points for that. Not really going to dock points for the stem. It is what it is. Average construction. Flavor, we're going to go with a 3 on the flavor just because there was a couple of flavors in there, but not super complex, so pretty average on that as well. So unfortunately, my overall experience with this one's pretty average. I've had some better. I've definitely had some worse. So it's a very average stick. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 3-star rating, 3 out of 5 on that one. I personally think that if I would have followed my gut and pulled that stem out earlier, it might have changed the flavor profile just a little bit. So who knows? Now what I would be interested in doing is getting a bigger size. So probably a Toro, because that's my favorite size. Or maybe even, oh hell, I don't know, let's see. Or maybe the Grande 6x60. I'd probably go with the Toro the next time. So being the 6x52. Longer cigar, bigger ring gauge, more tobacco in the filler. It might change the profile quite a bit. So that is something I'd be interested in trying. And we'll have to just kind of go with that for now. So the Charter Oak Maduro is the one that we tried today. Charter Oak Maduro. Would I smoke it again? Yeah. Personally, between this one and the Connecticut Shade blend, I'm more leaning towards the Connecticut Shade, even though it's a little more of a, it followed along the same lines. I'd probably give that one about an average rating too. However, it was not as strong of a blend as what this one is. So with that heavy pepper in there, and I think the strength itself on this cigar was a little bit higher as well. And personally, I believe that comes a little bit more from the Habano binder. To me, Habano tobacco always seems to be a little bit higher on the strength level. So if that's something you're into, definitely try it out. Charter Oak Maduro. Yeah, give it a shot, guys. Big T signing off for today. Got my sockets all rearranged now, so we can go ahead and throw the toolbox back together and get some more cleaner around the garage. Hopefully, I might get one more review in before I do the news. If not, next time you'll see me, we'll be in the new man. I'm very excited. Not going to give out too many details yet.